Good morning, everyone. Jagan, okay, after a long time, I'm seeing your face. Yes, Jagan, it's been many years. Almost 7, 8 years, Jagan. No punishment, no punishment. Let's wait for a few more minutes. Let others join. Good morning, Siva. Good morning. Let me wait for a few more minutes, just 1 or 2 minutes. Let others also join. People are joining. Fine, guys. Let me start. I think it's already 9:15 almost. It's 9:12 now. Let me start the class because let others join later. Now, first, I just want to tell you what is function overloading, because like yesterday or day before yesterday, in the day one topic, we have seen about constructor overloading, right? So, function overloading is almost like same like constructor overloading, right? But one thing is that constructor doesn't have return type. Function will be having return type, but we cannot differentiate between one function another function for function overloading with the help of return type, but we can do it with the help of parameters. For example, if I want to add four numbers, right, add two numbers, two different types of numbers, right, let me write a program for that. First, let us see what is function overloading and go ahead, right. Let me say class addition. Let me take public, say void add. I'm going to add two integers first, so let me say void add and then say void add again to float, right, and then say void add to double, right. Now this program takes three functions, right, add and add. All three are in a different way, right. All three functions takes two first function takes two integer, second function takes two float, and third function takes two double. Now if I want to define this function add, I'll just say void the class name and then say add and then say int x comma int y. Now here I'll just say cout x plus y. And then if I want to do it the same process with the help of float, I can do it. I'll just say float and float. I missed one thing, that is to include my IO stream. Let me do the same process with the double. Okay, so I'm doing three functions, all three add, right, all three add functions. That is two with one with two integers, one with two float, one with two double, right. So let me call the main method. Now here I'll say addition, then say a. So let me pass two integers. Now if I want to pass float, how will I pass float value, right? So if I say 10.2 comma 3.4, right? So when I pass two decimal place value, by default any decimal place value is double and not float. So to make it as float, I need to put an f, right? I'll say a dot add. If I say 2.3 comma 4.5. Now this will call the function which has double as argument. Now this is called as function overloading. I have more than one function with same name but different types of parameter. First is two integer, next is two float, next is two double, right? So I'm having different types of data types, right? Different parameter types for all three functions having same name. This is called as function overloading. This has nothing to do with polymorphism, because when I say polymorphism means a single thing, right, everything should be same. Polymorphism means like everything should be same. My function name, my parameter, my return type, everything will be same. Then only it is called as polymorphism, right? A single thing, a same thing, identical thing acting in two different forms. Now here we have three different functions doing three different works or almost the same work, but with different types of parameters. So I can say that these are not all same. All three are different. Only the function name is same, but the parameters are different. So that's the reason why this doesn't come under polymorphism. And moreover, like every function will be having a different name when we compile it, right? There is something called as name mangling that the compiler gives it. So every function will be having different name for it, right? Okay, let me bring in the terminal. Let me run this code for you. So when I run the code, I'm getting all three outputs, but all in same line. Let me put endl to print in different lines or the new line. Let me save it, compile. So you're getting 30, 13.6 and 6.8. Now here this method like which has two integers will call this function where I have two integers, right? And this one which has two float values, right? When I say 10.2f and 3.4f, these are called as float values. When I use the float value, it will call the float method which has to float. And finally this will call the method which has double, right? So this is how it differentiates, right? Now it is it identifies the function with the help of its parameters, the number of parameters or the type of parameter what we are giving. Based on that, my function will be called. Okay, you have any doubt here in function overloading? I believe like you have already learned about constructor overloading, so you won't be having any doubt in function overloading, I believe. If you have any doubts, please chat in the chat window. I can reply you back immediately. I think there is a very big time delay. I don't know why. Yes, can you hear me? Guys, can you respond? Because I'm not getting any feedback here. Okay, it's working now. Fine. See, Jagan asked a question like, why can't we use function overloading in C? As far as C programming language is concerned, you cannot create your own function overloading, but there is a function overloading. For example, you use scanf and printf in different forms, right? So that is an internal function overloading is there in C. Yes, there is an internal function overloading there in C, but you cannot create your own function overloading. But in C++, it has been given to you, a provision has been given to you to create your own function overloading. Okay, got it? Any other doubts? Jagan, your doubt clear? Okay, fine. Anyone have any other doubts, guys? Do you have any other doubts? Shall we proceed further with the friend function? Let us proceed further, right? So let me explain you what is friend function. Okay. Now, let me tell you an example. For example, you're sitting at your home, right, watching TV with your remote in your hand, right? You're watching TV with the remote in your hand, and you're seriously watching some your liked program, right? And suddenly your father comes and say that give me the remote. Will you say no, no, get out? Who are you to ask me a remote? No, you will give him, right? Because you don't have any other go, because he is your member of a family, right? So he can take the remote from you, and he can watch the TV, right? Some people don't give. That's a different story, right? And now here what happens, you will share with, it's your private property, right? TV or AC or fridge or your sofa or your whatever is there in your home, it's your private property. No one can use it, right? For example, you're watching something on your TV and a stranger comes inside, right? A third person who don't even know who is he directly comes inside and snatches the remote from you, and will you allow him to do that? No, you don't do it, right? You don't allow a stranger to access your private properties, right? It's your property, right? Only the members of your family can use it. For example, I have a class like this. I'll say class sample, and I have some private properties a comma b, right? So these private properties can be accessed only by the members of the class, correct? For example, if I want to get input, I'll say void get, set the input here with the help of void set, and then say you use the method get to print the output, right? Now here, if I want to get any input, I can access the private properties of the class with the help of the public members, right? I cannot say set and get cannot access the private properties. Set and get can access the private properties because these are members of the class, right? These are called as members of the class. So it means that a member of a class can access any property of the class, either it is a private property or a public property or a protected property, right? So any member of a class can access anything, wherein an outsider cannot access the private or the protected properties of a class. It is restricted for him. Now, okay, you're sitting in your home and watching some program in the TV. Your friend comes inside and say that, can I sit in your sofa? You'll say, no, no, this is my private property. You cannot sit in my sofa. Will you say that? No, right? You won't do that, right? And if again, like if a friend asks, give me the remote, I want to change the channel. Will you say, no, no, no? Are you a member of my family? No, you cannot touch my private property. Will you say that? No, you will allow your friend to do it, right? Obviously you'll say, okay, fine, man, come, use it, right? The same way, right, we have something called as friend in your object oriented programming, C++, right? So in object oriented programming in C++, you have something called as friend, which allows to access all the members of the class since being a friend, right? Okay, so let me say friend void add. Now this function is called as friend function. Okay. And one more thing, since your friend is allowed to access your private properties, will you add his name or his uh, uh, ration card? Is it possible? No, no. You are accessing my private properties. To access private properties of the class, you should be the member of the class, so that like come on, join my family. No, right? You won't do it, right? Still a person as a friend who can access your private properties, not necessarily to be a member of your family, but he can still be a friend. The same way, the friend function what I've given here is not a member of the class, but it's a friend of the class. So since it is the friend of the class, it means that it is not in the scope of the class. It is a standalone function, right? A friend function is a standalone function, and who is not a part of a class, who is not a member of the class, but can access all the properties of the class, right from the private to the public, right? So every property of the class can be accessed by the friend function. Got it? Since it is not in the scope of the class, it doesn't matter whether the friend function is there in the private part or the public or the protected. It can be declared anywhere. Your friend function can be declared anywhere, either in the private, public, or the protected section. That doesn't matter. Got it? Okay, fine. So let me tell you how to define the function. So if I want to define the function void set, how will I define it? I'll say void class name scope resolution set. So here I set the input. So I'm setting the input. Okay. I'll say void sample get. If I want, I can say cout a cout b. Right. Again, one important thing that I used to forget always, just to include my header file, right? So this happened to me after started taking training on Python, right? So Python doesn't require any semicolon. Python doesn't require to include any header file, right? So it's free. It gives you free hand to do whatever you want. But unfortunately, like when I use someone has asked any question. No, okay. When I use other programming languages like C or what C++, like I struggle, I forget to put my semicolon, and I use print in C, sometimes printf in Python. All these things will happen, so pardon me for some time. Okay, now if I want to define the friend function outside the class, how will I define it, right? So I'll say void, and then say, do I have to give the class name? Class name is not required because my friend function doesn't belong to the class. It is not a member of the class. It is not in the scope of the class. So the class name, scope resolution, nothing is required. As I said, it's just a standalone function. It is just a standalone function, and it can access all my private properties, right? It can access all my private properties. For example, let me say cout a plus b. I'll say a plus b. I can access the private properties. But one important thing is that if I want to access any of the properties, what is required? Object is required, correct? But here I am not using object, but there is an internal object. What is that? Yesterday we have seen, in the last class we have seen, what is that? So it is internally like this arrow a. That is like I am using an object with the help of this object. I'm using my current object with the help of this object. Everywhere it is like that. But here, since my friend function, it is not in the scope of the class, it is not a member of the class, it cannot be called with the object also. Let me tell you how to call this. I'll say int main, and then say sample s, and I say s dot get. So when I say s dot get, s is passed internally to the function get, and when I say s dot set, sorry, first set should come because I'm setting the input there, I'm getting the output here, right? So when I say s dot set, the set method is called, along with that the object s is passed internally, right? And here I say get method is called, along with that s is passed internally, right? Without any issue, right? So my set function is called and s is passed internally, and get function is called s is passed internally. Now how will I call the method add? Just like that. The add function is called just like that. I cannot use the object because it is not it's not the member of the class, right? It is not a member of the class, it is not in the scope of the class. Then how will I access a and b? Because without the help of object, none of the members of the class can be accessed, right? If I want to access any member of the class, I require an object to access it, right? Now how will I do it? Now here s is passed internally to every function. To the member functions, by default the object will be passed internally, but for friend function the object will not be passed internally. Then how will I access it? To access, I may need to use the object explicitly, alright? So I may need to create an object explicitly, and I may need to pass the object explicitly. So from here I'll be passing the object s. So if I pass the object s, I need to have a parameter to catch it. How will I have it? I'll say sample, let me say t. So t is the object here, and here I have to say t dot a and then say t dot b. Got it? And here also I need to give the same type, right? So whatever is given in the declaration, that must be there in the definition as well. If I change my definition, I may need to change my declaration as well, right? So every friend function, right, if at all you want to use friend function, one thing is must for the friend function, that you may need to use the, you may need to pass the object to the friend function to access any of the class members. So it must be like any friend function is used, my parameter type will be class name. That is by default, you cannot change it, right? That is must. Now here when I say t dot a, t dot b, what is t? The object s, right? So when the object s is passed here, t will be holding the object s, and when I say t dot a and t dot b, it is actually s dot a and s dot b. You have any doubts, guys? So let us run this code for you. Let me run this code for you. So I'll say 12, 23. Oops. Let me give it a new line. Let me give a space to differentiate the values. Let me give a slash in here as well. So let me say 12, 23. So the input given is 12 and 23. The output what I got is 35. I am adding those two values which is there a part of my class with the help of a friend function, right? I'm not doing it directly. I'm using a friend function to do it. You with me, guys? You have any doubt here? So friend function can access the private properties of a class. And this friend function, one more thing that I want to let you know, right? The friend function can be friend of more than one class. It is not required that it can be friend of only one class. A friend function can be a friend of more than one class. Your doubts, guys? If you have any doubt, please let me know. I'm just waiting for your chats. Like if you have any doubts in friend function, do let me know. I'll clarify it. No doubt. Okay. Fine. Shall I proceed further? Okay. Okay. Now let me tell you how to make a function friend for more than one class, right? Let me tell you how to write a program to make the friend function friend of more than one class. Okay. So let me take class 1. Let me comment this out for some time. It's not required for me. Let me use, I don't want to call, so let me use a constructor to set the value, right? So I'll say class 1. me have something called as class 2. Let me have two variables, one variable in class 1 and one variable in class 2. Let me say 1. Let me get input for the variable a. Let me create the constructor 2. Shiva's asked a question. Friend function can have the access of all members including private and protected, right? Yes, Shiva. Yes, it has access to private, protected, public, everything. I forgot to say that Shiva has created a notes on day before yesterday's class, right? On the day one's class, but I'm yet to verify it, right? He has sent me the notes just for everyone, for others those are listening to the class. You can also use it. Like he want me to verify it, but I didn't find time. I was totally engaged. Sorry, Shiva. I'll definitely do it today to check like is there any mistakes are there in that or anything to need to be changed. I'll change it and send it back to Shiva. He'll share it in the group. Fine, Shiva. Thank you very much, Shiva, for doing that. Right. I'm really happy that people are listening and taking notes and all. Right. Good. Fine. Now here I have a class called as class 1 and I have a class called as class 2 and I have some private variable in the class 1 and I have one private variable in the class 2. Right. Sorry. And I have a constructor in class 1, I have a constructor in class 2 as well. Now I am getting input for the class 1 with the help of class constructor and I am getting input for class 2 with the help of class 2's constructor. Now if I want to add the value of a and b, there are two different values in two different classes, but I want to get the value from class 1 and add it with the value with class 2, right? For that I cannot do it directly, but I can use a friend function. So as I said already, friend function can be declared anywhere, either in the private or in the public. That doesn't matter. And I said one more thing: a friend function will take always object as argument, but here it is going to access values from two different classes. So what should be my parameter type? Right? I cannot have sample A because sample is no more there. So I am going to take value A from class 1, value B from class 2, right? So let me give it here. I'll say 1, let me say O, and 2, let me say T. Now I want to add values of object O and object T. Now to add function, what object should I pass, or which object will I be passing from here? Do I have to pass both the objects or one object is enough? How is that? Any idea? In the previous program we have seen we have only one class and yes we passed the class, right? That particular class's object, but here we have two classes and we are going to get values from two different classes, right? And my friend function is going to take value from class 1 and class 2 as well. So then I mean from here I may need to pass O comma T. So when I pass O comma T, what will be my class method which will be taking argument? One will be 1, let me say X, and I'll say 2 Y. Now here I'll say X dot A and Y dot B, right? So it means that what's happening here, I am passing the object of class 1 to X and I am passing the object of class 2 to Y, right, respectively. Two objects needed to be passed. Good, Shiva. Yes, you're right. Right. So I may need to pass both the objects. I may need to pass both the objects. So when both the objects are passed, so both the objects are folded respectively. Okay. Now here also I may need to give the type. What type should I give here? I need to say 1 comma 2 because it is taking two objects, right? And here also I may need to give 1 comma 2. Right, everything is fine. What's happening? One declared is inaccessible. Why it is showing like that? Let us see what is the problem, right? Class 1 comma t. Let us check whether we have done some mistake. Now everything is fine except for one, right? So I'll tell you what is that. There is a problem here in this program. When I do compilation, compilation will happen line by line, execution will happen from main, but compilation will happen from the first line. First line, this will be executed, no problem. Here it comes, no problem. Here I'm creating a class, so no problem as well. And here I'm declaring a variable, perfect. And I'm declaring a friend function. When it comes here, 1, no problem. What is 2? The problem is like the compiler doesn't know what is 2 at all, because as of now 2 is not declared, 2 is here, right? So to make it understand, I may need to declare it before, right? This is called as forward declaration of the class. What is this called as? Forward declaration of the class. Right? So I do a forward declaration of the class, then my problem will be solved. Okay. So let us compile this code. No error. Let me run this code. I'll say 12, 23, you're getting 35, right? So 12 is the value of object, sorry, 12 is the value of the class 1 variable that belongs to class 1, and 23 is the value which belongs to class 2, but I'm adding these two with the help of friend function. So whenever I use a friend function, whenever I want a friend function to be a friend, in which and all class it need to be friend, I need to declare it everywhere, right? I cannot declare it in one place, I need to declare in every class that it belongs to, right? That it want to become a friend of, right? If I want to, if a friend function want to become a friend of class 2, it must be declared in class 2. If a function want to become a friend of class 1, it must be declared in class 1. If a function want to become a class of both the classes, it must be declared in both the classes and must take both the classes object as argument, right? So in whichever class it is, in whichever class I am declaring the function as friend, that class parameter type should be, that class type should be as the parameter of the friend function. Okay, so class 1 is there, 1 is there, class 2 is there, 2, yes, 2 is there, right? If class 3 is there, I must also declare comma 3. You with me, guys? Right? So this is how I can make my class to be a friend of more than one class. You have any doubts here? Please let me know. If it is okay, then we'll proceed further. No doubts? Shall we proceed further? Okay, fine. So now let us talk about operator overloading. Now operator overloading helps us to give a special meaning to an operator, right? Usually operators can be used on any variables, right? For example, if I have a variable called as a and that is stored with 10, and I have a variable called as b that is stored with 20, right? I can do like this, a plus b. Now this operation can be done because these two are normal variables, right? So any operation on a variable can be done only with the help of operator, right? Now here this operator can stand in between, or if it is a binary operator, can be stand in between any two operands, right? Two variables I can say, or two values directly. I can just say like this also. This works perfect, right? So these operators are meant to do some operation on a variable which has some value, or a value, a constant directly. That is where I can use a operator directly. But now we are going to see how to use an operator directly on objects, right? For example, let me say a class called a sample, and I say s1 and s2. Now if I say s1 plus s2, this is an error because I cannot add two objects. It is not at all possible for me to add two objects, right? So if I'm going to add two objects, it will definitely throw me error. Now how will I avoid this problem? That is what I'm going to tell you, right? So I can two objects need to be passed. Fine, fine, okay. No, that's an old comment, I'm sorry, right? So this operation can be like doing some operation on objects directly with the help of operator is called as operator overloading. Now here I can see your cin or cout is also a process of operator overloading, right? So cin is an object, what is next to that? That is an operator, right? Cout, what is next to that? That is another operator, right? So if I do something, or if I do an operation with the help of operator on an object, now that process is called as operator overloading. I cannot do it directly, right? I cannot do any operation on the objects directly, but with the help of operator overloading, right? There are certain operators that cannot be overloaded. I'll tell you what are they, right? So we can overload all operators except few. One is dot, dot asterisk, scope resolution operator, conditional operator, and size of operator, right? So these are the operators that cannot be overloaded, right? I can say operator that cannot be overloaded. So these are, make a note of it, because these operators cannot be overloaded. Apart from these operators, all other operators can be overloaded, right? Dot, dot asterisk, scope resolution, conditional operator, and size of operator. These are the operators that cannot be overloaded. Apart from that, all the operators can be overloaded. Now I'm going to tell you about few operators that can be overloaded. Okay. Let us see how to overload unary operator first, right? So let me have a variable called as a comma b. Let me say int. Right, let me use another variable to do it. I'll say void. Let me set some input, or else I'll be getting. Let me get an constructor to get input, because if it is a normal function, I may need to call it. Let me use constructor, that is always better. And then like I'll tell you how to do it. I'll say void get. This method helps me to print all the values. So let me say increment, scope resolution, increment. Now here I'll be getting input for a, and you can also get input in the single line as well, like this. That is also possible, because I think I didn't say this on the first day. If at all you don't know, you can get input like this as well, right? This space I'm just giving for just for nothing, like just for showing, giving a clear picture, that's all. It doesn't mean that if I don't give space it will be giving error. No, it's not like that. If you don't give space it will never give you error, but just for visibility, right? Just for visibility purpose I'm giving space here, right? If you don't give space also the program will work, if you give space also the program will work, don't worry. So I'll say void, the class name is increment, and then the method is get. I'll say cout. So after incrementing, let me print this two variables. Okay, that's the incremented value. Now let us see how to do some operation directly on. Let me close this for you for some time. Right. I'll say increments, and I say I. I'll say I plus plus I. What is that I'm doing? I'm doing a pre-increment on a object, which is not possible directly, right? Can I increment an object? I can increment a variable because it has a value. But like if I try to increment an object, like that is not possible. I can increment a value which present inside the object, but not the object directly. Now what should I do for that? To make this possible, I'll be using a method called as operator overloading method, right? I'll say void. I'll be using the keyword called as operator, right? And then which operator that I want to overload, right? I'll be using the keyword operator followed by the operator which I want to overload. This is how I create a operator overloading function, right? So the return type of the function, that the function doesn't going to return anything. I'll say operator plus plus. It means that I'm creating a creating a method and then making this to happen, right? So when I say plus plus I, it will call the operator overloading method. Now how will it call? I'll say void class name scope resolution operator and then followed by the operator plus plus. Now operator plus plus together is your function name, right? Operator plus plus is together is your function name. Now here what I need to do, that is what I'm going to tell you, right? Now here I'll just say I'll say incre a will be assigned with plus plus a and incre b is assigned with plus plus b, right? So you will get the incremented value. Now here I'll tell you what's happening. When I say plus plus I, it means that the plus plus function, the plus plus operator function will be called and I will be passed internally to this. Now obviously this will be holding I, the object I. Now when I say plus plus I, this function will be called. It is not going to increment. Now plus plus I is not going to increment the value, rather it calls the function and inside that function I am incrementing the value of a and b. You with me guys, right? So I'm incrementing the value of a and b and then I try to print it. I'll say I dot get. Okay, when I do this what will happen? I repeat, when I do this immediately the plus plus function will be called. Don't think that it is getting incremented. It just calls the operator plus plus function and then the value will be incremented. You with me guys? Okay, fine. Now let me run this code for you. Let me open the terminal and run it. Let me get input. I'll say 12, 23. Now 12 is incremented to 13 and 23 is incremented to 24. Let us give, where is that? A space in between. So I gave 12 and 23. It's 12 is incremented to 13 and 23 is incremented to 24. You any doubt, guys? So this is how I do an increment, right? This is pre-increment. If I want to do a post-increment, what should I do? Let me comment this, and I'll say I plus plus. When I say I plus plus, what it shows here? No operator plus plus matching this operand, but I have a method which has plus plus, right? I have a method which has plus plus, but still when I say pre-increment, this method will be called without any problem. But when I say post increment I plus plus, the same method will not work. I need to have a different method for it. Now how will I do it? That is what I'm going to tell you, right? For that I may need to include a new method with a dummy parameter inside. Any dummy parameter, you can give anything there, right? So now when I give a dummy parameter inside, let me also give it here. I'll put an int here. This is not required for me anymore. I'll comment that out, right? So when I say pre-increment, no problem, this function will be called. When I say post-increment, same process with dummy parameter to say that it is that this function is a function which helps you to access the post-increment operator, right? So when I run this code for you, this will work. Sorry, 12, 23, you will be getting, oops, I forgot to change this, a plus plus, right? So when I do a post increment, the increment will happen later, so I'll be getting the same output only, right? When I say 12 23, I'll be getting 12 23 only because it is post increment. For post increment, increment variable will be like still will be holding a only, right? But when I print a and b, it will print 13 and 24 because a will get incremented, b will get incremented, because this variable will not get incremented because it is the post increment. Okay, got it, guys? Okay, any doubt here? Any doubt in unary operator overloading? If you don't have any doubt in unary operator overloading, let us go for binary operator overloading, right? I'll be giving you 1 minute of time to respond, and then after that I'll go for binary operator overloading. Is there any limitation? Will do only plus plus operation. What if I do minus minus operation since it's normal function? Again, I can use any operator, plus plus, minus minus, anything. There is no limitation except for the few things which I said before, right? Dot, dot, asterisk, scope resolution, size of. Except these operators, all other operators can be used, right? The same process I can do with a decrement as well, right? So let me do this. If I want to do a decrement, post decrement and pre decrement, right? I'll just go and give, let me take this out and comment this. This is for pre decrement and this is for post decrement. I can just go and give decrement here. Done. So let me run this code for you. I'll say the same 12 and 23. First time I'll be getting 11 and 20, 22. Next time I may get different value. No sir, my question is like use plus plus I. but inside operator overloading, if I can decrement. Okay, good question, Jagan. I do a increment here, right? And can I do decrement there? That is what Jagan's question. Yes, we can do it, right? So I have a decrement operator here. I can do a plus plus. It's up to you. You give a special meaning to it. Yes, when I do decrement, it will increment. You can do some magic there, right? It is possible, Jagan. Yes. So let me comment this for you sometime. What I am doing here is decrement, but let me try to print the output. It will increment and print. Okay. I'll give 12, 23. As per this program, like as far as I concern here, what is this? This is decrement, right? But what is happening internally? Increment. Let us see what is the output, right? Before it gave me 11 and 22. Now it will give me, oops, 1 minute. I'm incrementing. I've not done this. Let me comment this out. This is not required for me for some time. Let me comment the unwanted things so that I can clearly identify what is happening internally. So I'll say I'll increment. I do a decrement here, but I'm incrementing here, right? Okay. Printing the variable. Okay. Let me save this. So I'll say 12, 23. So you're getting 13 and 24, right? In spite of doing a decrement here, right? I'm using a decrement operator here, minus minus I. But when this comes here, internally what is happening? I'm incrementing. I can give a decrement internally, I can give anything. It's my wish, Jagan. I can do anything. Got it? Your doubt is clear, Jagan? Okay. Dummy variable. Okay. Jagan's question is, what is the use of this dummy variable? Okay, there is no use of dummy variable, Jagan. It is just to differentiate between these two things, right? When I say like this, is there any difference? That becomes like error. That is an error. That's an error. But I want to see, if I want to differentiate between an operator function overloading, what do? I can differentiate one function with the another function with the help of parameter. But here I can just use a dummy parameter. I can use anything here. I can use int, char, float, anything. But I want to differentiate this function with this function. That's all. I want to differentiate these two functions. That's the reason I'm using an integer here. That is not going to do anything. It is just to differentiate. If there is a dummy parameter, then it is for post increment. That's all. So just to differentiate between a pre and post, the syntax is used like this, just to give a syntactical difference. Nothing big there, right? It is of no use. It is only to just make a difference between a pre increment and a post increment. Now this is for pre and this is for post. It can be either increment or decrement or anything. If I don't give anything here as a parameter, that is for pre, and if I give one parameter, that becomes post. Just to differentiate between the methods. That's all. Because both the methods syntax are same, right? It is also operator. It is also operator same. There is no difference. But I want to differentiate between these two functions. I need to do something with the parameter only. That's the only option I have. That's the reason I'm giving a dummy parameter here. That is not going to do anything for me. Good question, Jagan. I hope your doubt is clear. If at all you have any other doubts, please let me know. Okay, good. Anyone have any other doubts? Guys, there is a 20 to 30 seconds of delay in streaming. That's the reason whatever I speak you get only 20 to 30 seconds later. Whatever you ask me, like if I reply you, it means that like I'm replying you back only 30 40 seconds. Okay, fine. So let me go ahead and explain. Any doubts? Okay. Shall I proceed, guys? No doubt. If possible, can you share the example code you typed here? Okay, fine. I'll do one thing, Shiva. I'll type this example code and share it with you. Don't worry, I'll do that. I don't know. There are a lot of people in the group responding and join the group, but only few are attending the classes. I don't know why. Okay, maybe the timing problem for others. I don't understand. Maybe because of that. Because the views are high, uh, but people joining is very less. After that, only people are joining. Right? I think like 9 o'clock is very early for people. Shall we make it as 10? Do let me know that as well. I'll change the time to 10 because 9 o'clock people feel very early, right? For some people that is midnight, right? For some people 9 o'clock is very early morning, so it's very difficult for them to join. If at all it's very difficult, do let me know. I'll change the timing to 10 o'clock, right? Fine. So let me see binary operator overloading, right? So let me give an example for uh, fine sir, any comments? No. Okay, let me give an example for binary operator overloading with a plus operator. Okay, let me say operator plus. I'll use constructor to get input. I'm getting constructor to get input for A and B, and let me use a plus operator overloading. Let me say value of A, B. Okay, no doubts. So I'll proceed further. Let me say B1, B2, and say B3. Right now, what I'm trying to do is what I'm going to do is I'll say let me say B3 assign B1 plus B2. Right. So doing something. Okay. B1 plus B2. What I'm doing, I'm trying to add two objects, which is not possible, right? Directly adding an object is not possible at all. So what should I do? I may need to use a binary operator overloading. So to use a binary operator overloading, I'll say operator plus. right? Now here when I say b1 plus b2, now here let me explain you this part alone. Listen carefully, I am going to explain you only this part, right? Let me explain you here in the comment section. So when I say b1 plus b2, it means that I am calling the method, or I am calling the function plus. Now here what is plus? Plus is a function, right? Previously we have seen plus plus and minus minus, those are functions. But now here plus is a function. Now how this is actually looked, right? How it is looked, I'll say b dot plus of b2. What is happening? So any function that I want to call, right? If I want to call any function, how will I do it? I'll use the object, right? Let me say b3, right? So I'll use the object followed by the dot and followed by the function that I want to call. Now here I want to call the function plus with the help of b1, right? So b1 plus b2 is exactly internally is understood like this: b1 followed by dot, I am calling the function plus and I am passing b2. That is what it is happening, right? So I this is if, guys, I'll just wait for few seconds. Just respond me if you don't, if you understand this, right? If you just say yes or no, I'll be happy, right? I can proceed further, because this is little bit confusing for usually for people. That's the reason I want to explain you in depth, right? Just give me a text saying that yes, understood, or no, I have any doubt, so that I can clear your doubts. If it is no doubt, I can proceed further. I'll wait for few seconds. Okay, I believe there is no doubt because I didn't get any chat here. So let me proceed further. Okay. Now when I say b1 plus b2, it means that I am calling the method, or I am calling the function plus with the help of object b1, and I am passing the object b2. Now what will happen? So when I say I pass the object b2, there must be a parameter to catch it, right? So what is the type of b2? Type of b2 is binary. So let me have a parameter of type binary, and then let me say b, and here also I need to give parameter type. So the parameter type is binary, that is the operator, right? Now what should I do? b1, what is, where is b1 now? b1 is the calling object. Usually the calling object will be stored in this. So b1 is stored in this. What is stored in b? B is stored with the object b2. You with me, right? So b1 is internally passed to this, and b2 is explicitly passed to the object b. Let me do it for you. Now I'll say b1, sorry, I'm sorry. Now here it is b, right? What is there in b1? Sorry, b1 holds, this is holding b1. So let me say a directly, a plus b dot a. It means that when I say a plus b dot a, it means that a plus b1's, sorry, b2's a, right? So I'm adding a b, what this a, this means what this holds internally, it holds b1, right? So what this b holds, b holds b2, right? It is like b1's a is added with b2's a. And where should I store it? Let me store it in a temporary object. Let me say binary temp. I'm creating a temporary object here. So let me say temp dot a assign, right? And then here I say temp dot b assign b plus b's b. And from here, after doing all my process, I may need to return, right? I may need to return temp. So when I say I want to return something, I'll use the keyword return temp. So when I say return temp, what is that I'm returning? If I'm going to return an integer value, my return type will be int. If I'm going to return a character value, my return type will be char, right? What's the type of temp? The type of temp is binary. So what should be my return type? My return type also should be binary. So whatever I'm returning, the same type should be my return type. So when I have a return type here, this also need to be changed to return type as binary. Got it, guys? Okay. Now after doing all the process, what I'm doing, I'm adding B1 objects A with B2 objects A, storing it in temps A. And here I am taking B1 objects B and B2 objects B, adding it and storing it in temp. Finally, I am returning the object temp. So when I say return the object temp, what I am doing, now here what will come after doing all the process, the object temp will come. And what is there here? It is B3 assign temp. So when I say B3 assign time, I am trying to store a object inside another object directly with the help of assignment operator. But like there is an, even though there is a default assignment operator, it is better that I explicitly write a program for assignment operator overloading. So let me say void operator assign binary, right? Operator assign binary. So when I say operator assign binary, what will happen? I have to write a method for that as well. So I'll say void binary scope resolution operator assignment and then binary. Let me say t. Now here what will happen, I'll tell you. Now this is internally how it is represented. I'll say b3 dot assign of temp. Now what will happen? I'm calling the method assignment operator overloading with the help of b3 object and I'm passing temp. And I'm passing temp. So what will happen? This will go here internally. Temp will be stored in t. Now t is stored with temp, which is returned, right? And what will be there in this? The calling object. What is the calling object? That is b3. Now here I'll say a assign t dot a. What is a? Which objects a? A is of the calling object. Which is the calling object? b3. So b3 objects a, and the object which is passed here, t is a, will be stored. And then say b assign t dot b. Done. So this, for this one single line, how many operators overloaded? Two operators. One is plus operator, another one is assignment operator. So I have overloaded two operators. One is plus, another one is assignment operator overloading, right? So let me save this and clear the screen and run for you. Let me say 12, 23 and then 10 and 20. Okay, so I have created an object b3 as well. So let me make a small change here. I'll say void set let me say binary. Let me make my a to initialize it to 0 and b initialize it to 0, right? I'm just initializing, that's it, right? So let me run this code again for you. Okay, I forgot to call the method, that's the problem, right? I forgot to call the method, that's the reason it's providing me 0. I'll say set, then say b2 dot set, let me set two set of, let me set two set of values, right? Let's say, so you're getting 12 plus 30, that is 30, okay, 12 plus 20, that is 32, and 23 plus 30, that is 53. Okay, so this is how I do operator overloading, right? If I want to overload any operator, I can overload, right? Either plus, assignment, any operator can be overloaded. Okay, you don't have any restriction apart from those things which I've already shown you, right? I've showed you some operators which cannot be overloaded, that is like dot, dot, asterisk, what else, scope resolution, size of, except apart from these operators, all other operators can be overloaded. Got it, guys? If you have any doubts, do let me know. I'm just going to conclude the session because I've taken like a friend what function overloading and operator overloading, right? So one more thing that I want to say, like if I want to make my operator overloading function as a friend function, what will happen? I'll tell you about that and then I'll conclude that. Okay, so one topic I'll tell you how to overload a friend function, oh sorry, an operator overloading function which is a friend function. You have any doubts in operator overloading, do let me know, right? I'm just waiting for your chats. Okay, fine. I believe that I didn't get any response, so I believe you don't have any doubts. Okay, so let me say that if a friend function, if this plus operator, okay, yeah, Jagan, yeah, for you have doubts or you don't have doubts? I think like I asked, shall we proceed further? I for that I think you responded yeah, right? Okay. So if at all my operator overloading plus operator overloading function is a friend function, what will happen? That is what we are going to see now, right? Any other chats? No one. Okay, fine. Now one thing is that if it is a friend function, I cannot use scope resolution operator, correct? I cannot use scope resolution operator. Everything is perfect apart from that. And one more thing is that if a friend function is called, what is one thing that I need to say? Friend function doesn't have this, correct? A friend function doesn't have this. Now here there will not be this. Now what shall we do? There's a bigger problem, right? So usually like when a function is called, the calling object will be passed internally to this. But here in friend function, if it is a friend function, you don't have this. Friend function will never have this. So since it doesn't have this, I cannot do anything. What should I do? I may need to pass both the objects explicitly like this. I'll say binary b1 b2, or if you are confused with b1 and b2, let me make it as t1 t2. Right now here object t1 will be having b1, object t2 will be having b2. Now here I'll say t1 dot a, t2 dot a, and I'll say t2 dot b, t1 dot b. You with me, guys? Right. So I am passing two objects and I am doing the work. Now here also, here I'll say just b1 plus b2. Now here what will happen, I call the function plus, b1 and b2 will be passed explicitly to t1 and t2, right? So this is what I'm doing here. I may need to give one more binary here. So two objects, if it is a normal function, one will be passed to this, one will be passing explicitly. But if it is a friend function, there is no implicit passing because there is no this pointer at all. I have to pass both the things explicitly, right? So let me save this and run for you. Let me say 10, 20, 30 and 40. Now you're getting 40 and 60 respectively after adding a of object b1 and a of object b2, and a of b of object a1 and b of, sorry, b of object b1 and b of object b2. Got it, guys? Right. So this is how I implement operator overloading, sorry, friend function and operator overloading together, right? So if I want to implement only operator overloading, no problem, right? One will be passed to this, one will be passed explicitly. But when I say friend function, I may need to pass both the things explicitly, then only the program will work, right? Okay. Guys, I request you to respond me, like if you have any doubts, do respond me, or else like we'll conclude with it. If you have any doubts so far, whatever we have seen since morning, right? We have seen function overloading, operator overloading, and friend function, and combination of friend function and operator overloading. If you have any doubts in this, do let me know. I'll clarify your doubts, or else we'll close with this. And tomorrow, like, do let me know if you want a change in timing, because I am seeing people like there's a floating crowd, people coming and going, like maybe like 9 o'clock is not suitable for you. If at all 9 o'clock is not suitable for you, do let me know. We can change the timing, right? We'll change the timing, and also we'll discuss in the WhatsApp group now. We'll change the timing because it is like I'm doing for you people only, right? I'm not going to benefit anything out of it. So it's people need to get benefited out of something, right? So if you have any doubts, do let me know. I'll be waiting for a few more seconds, or else we'll close with that. Okay, I believe there are no doubts. So let me conclude the session. Anyway, thank you for listening to me, guys. Have a nice day, right? With all you have, okay, check in. Friend only, we can able to use class and argument, or we can specifically have class private variables also. Example. Okay. Jagan, friend function can take any number of argument, but the least requirement is the class name, right? So any friend function definitely requires a class name. Apart from that, if you want to pass anything, yes, you can do that, right? You can do that as well. No problem in that, right? So let me give an example for that as well, because you have a doubt. Let me clarify a doubt first. For example, I have a class like this. I'll say class sample. Let me say int a. Yeah. Public. Let me have a constructor, and let me have a friend function. So here it takes by default the class name as argument 1, it is must, and next I can give one integer. So here let me say sample. Sample. Let me give input for here a, and let me say void. This is my friend function. add, which going to take the class name as argument. I'll say s comma int y, and here I can say cout s dot a plus y, right? And from here I can say int main sample s. I'll call the function add and then say pass s and 10. Now here what I'm doing is I'm creating an object which will call the constructor, and I'll be getting input for a. For example, if my input is 20, and then I call the friend function add and then pass s. Now s is holding, or s is the object which holding the variable a, and when I say s dot a, that is actually 20 plus I am passing one more variable from here, value from here, that is 10, that will be stored in the variable y, that is 10. I'm sorry. Yeah. So this will be added and printed. Okay. I can have any number of arguments for my add or for my friend function, but one must is the class name. That is the object, right? One a must parameter is the class name and the object, right? And other things you can have anything, right? I can pass any number of argument, but one must, that is my object. Hope your doubt is clear, Jagan. Okay, fine. Anyone have any other doubts? Let me wait for a few minutes. Let me get the response. Pre-increment, post-increment. Since we are not giving any dummy while calling. Jagan, while calling, you don't have to give anything. Like it will understand. The compiler will understand based on the placing of the operator. If it is plus plus s, then obviously it is pre-increment, right? So the pre-increment method will be called. If it is s plus plus, so it is obviously like post-increment. The post-increment method will be called. So the compiler will understand which one to call during runtime, right? So the function call doesn't require anything, but the function, the definition what you are having there, that requires. Okay. Yeah, it depends on where you're placing, Jagan. That is what I'm saying. Plus plus s means pre-increment. S plus plus means post-increment. Where the operator is placed depends on the operator position, right? It will understand whether it is pre-increment or post-increment. Okay, good. Done, done. Okay. uh, uh, Guys, in few minutes I'll be asking for your timings in the WhatsApp chat. You can respond me. So based on the poll that I'm getting, how many people want that which timing, I'll be changing my timing in the for from tomorrow. Okay. Fine, guys. I'm done with today. Thank you very much. Have a nice day.